We are now on the record for November 10th, 2014. The time now is 1:45 p.m.
Raise your right hand, please. You swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Could you tell us your name for the record, please, sir?
Carlo Muso,
And where do you reside, sir?
Jonesboro, Georgia.
And what's your job?
I am the president of Correct Health.
And the mission of Correct Health is to provide high-quality, cost-effective health care.
Yes.
And Correct Health should improve the efficiency of health care delivery in jails.
Yes.
And Correct Health should hire the best local professionals to serve each jail.
Yes.
And Correct Health should hire the best specialists to serve each jail.
Yes.
And Correct Health's administrative staff should also be the best qualified to make sure everything runs smoothly in the field.
Yes.
And Correct Health should provide the highest quality service.
Yes.
And Correct Health should provide the highest attention to detail available.
Check to the form. You can go ahead.
I'm sorry, what the question was?
Correct Health should provide the highest attention to detail available.
Yes. Yes.
And when it comes to patient care, safety comes first.
Yes.
And I was looking at your website, and it says that healthcare has a correct way of providing correctional health care. What's meant by that?
It's a tagline to refer to our understanding of correctional health care in general and our providing that correctional health care.
And you've been selected by Correct Health LLC, and I assume Correct Health Rockdale LLC, to be what's called the 30B6 witness.
I believe so.
Do you understand what that means?
Vaguely.
And what's your understanding?
That I'm here as the corporate representative to answer those questions.
Regarding certain topics.
Yes.
Have you seen the notice before?
Have I
The
seen?
notice of your deposition.
Yes.
You were asked to provide some documentation. Did you bring those documents?
We've provided all the documentation already.
Can I get a sticker, Steve? Just mark this as plaintiff's one. Just gonna put the 30B6 notice into the record.
This is number one?
Yeah. Good. You attended LSU Medical School?
I did.
Where'd you go to college?
At LSU as well.
And then after medical school, you did a residency in emergency medicine at Denver General Hospital in Denver, Colorado.
Yes.
Are you board certified in emergency medicine?
I was.
No longer?
No longer.
When was the last time you were board certified?
I think 2011.
Do you practice medicine at all now?
Somewhat.
Somewhat means?
Well, in that, I practice, medicine with my family and friends, and I provide care on a very sporadic basis.
Sporadic, what does that mean?
I don't have a set schedule of clinical patients that I see on an ongoing basis.
Where do you see patients in a clinical setting?
Well, I have seen a handful of patients in a primary and urgent care center in the
Where
last
at?
year or two.
Where?
It was in Locust Grove.
Why'd you do that?
Because I was involved in that clinic, and that clinic is no longer.
What's the name of the clinic?
It is Correct Med.
Did you own that?
I did.
And how come it's no longer in existence?
It was sold.
Who'd you sell it to?
A company in Dallas.
Have you done any other medical practice in the last year or two other than that? And taking care of family members?
That's the extent of my hands-on patient care.
Okay. When you worked in an emergency room, a doctor was always present, right?
If I was there, yes.
Or when you go to an emergency room, you expect a doctor to be there, right? 24/7.
Yes,
Are RNs present in emergency rooms?
usually.
What about PAs?
Depends.
An emergency room wouldn't be left to an LPN to attend.
Certainly not in the urban areas. In some of the more rural areas, I'm not so sure.
So in certain of the, you're saying that in rural areas, you can walk into an emergency room and it wouldn't be a doctor there?
That's still quite possible.
Could you name me such a place?
No, I can't.
Now, who's Lynn Junka?
She is the Chief Financial Officer for Correct Health.
How long has she been the Chief Financial Officer?
For about maybe 10 years.
Okay. What about Stacy Blackman? What's her role at the company?
She is General Counsel.
And how long has she been General Counsel?
Maybe 8 years, roughly.
Who's Alan Adams?
Alan Adams is a director of some sort of administrative position, director of clinical services, or a director of, I'm struggling with the exact title, but
Is he a sales representative?
he has done some of that for us.
Are there any other officers of Correct Health, LLC?
Those are the ones you mentioned.
Okay.
That's pretty much it.
Are there 43 separate LLC entities?
At least.
How, you say at least, well, how many are there then?
Between 40 and 50.
Why do you have that sort of arrangement?
That's just a business organization we have adopted.
Is that like franchises?
No.
So why don't you have just one, why do you have separate LLCs? Is there,
Well, for several reasons. One reason could be I would have a partner in one of them, for example. Maybe another doctor that we would partner in, and that would be a reason to do it. So we've adopted that structure, and we've just maintained it over the years.
you are the founder of Correct Health, LLC?
Yes.
Did you found another company called Rainbow Medical Associates?
Yes.
What's that?
That's a company that provides services to forensic services to children's shelters.
So that's totally different than Correct Health?
Yes.
But it's got offices in the same building?
Yes.
Where's Correct Health's principally headquartered in Stockbridge?
No.
Where?
Atlanta.
Okay, on Peachtree Road?
Yes.
Do you have an office in Stockbridge then?
No.
Okay, is that your home?
No.
I read something about Rainbow and Correct Health being in a Stockbridge address. Did I just read something incorrectly?
That was a former address.
Okay. But now the address is on Peachtree Road in Atlanta.
Yes.
Is Rainbow there too?
Yes.
Who are the principals of Rainbow?
Gene, I think we've strayed well beyond the topics for the notice. So,
Well, I can ask them beyond the notice, just not, the company's just not bound.
okay.
I'll move on.
That's all right.
Have you ever worked in a correctional setting?
Yes.
So what was your role?
Medical director.
Which prisons?
Several. I started out Clayton County and others.
Okay. This before you began Correct Health?
That was the beginning of Correct Health.
Okay, so when you started, you were actually doing hands-on.
Yes.
Okay. When did you stop doing the hands-on medical?
Several years ago.
Have you ever been arrested?
No.
Have you ever had your privileges at a hospital suspended?
No.
Have you ever been disciplined at a hospital?
No.
Have you ever been denied privileges anywhere?
No.
Have you ever been sued?
Yes.
When?
It would have been many years ago.
Malpractice?
I'm not sure. If it was I don't think.
Do you
it
know
was
who the
malpractice.
plaintiff was?
I'd have to look at some documents.
Other than this lawsuit, has Correct Health ever been sued in the past 5 years?
Yes.
Could you tell me about those lawsuits?
That is also outside the scope of your notice, and
You directed him not to answer?
I thought we made this clear in the email exchange I had with Jim that this is either going to be his deposition combined with a 30B6 notice or not, and y'all opted for not. So he's here to answer 30B6 questions.
All right. Have you ever been the subject of an investigation by the Georgia Composite Medical Board?
Yes. Well, I'm not sure.
Well, it
I'm
involves.
not sure if I was, actually.
You ever been accused of wrongfully using sodium thiopental?
All right, he's not answering questions about that.
Well, I mean, that's part, that goes,
He's not answering questions about that subject. He's not answering questions about the broader subject of that issue and the use of that drug.
I mean, that goes to impeachment.
I don't think there's any way in the world
So
you're going to get to impeach him at trial on that subject.
Have you ever been, so you have or have not been the subject of investigation by the Georgia Composite Medical?
I think that's actually confidential information, that unless there's a public board order or public board finding, it's my understanding that anything short of a public board order is a confidential proceeding. And so unless there is some public board order you're aware of, I'm going to instruct you not to answer that question.
Have you ever imported sodium thiopental?
Don't answer that. We can keep not answering, or you can move on to a relevant subject.
Do you know a Dr. Nowlin?
Yes.
Did you hire Dr. Nowlin?
Dr. Allen was hired.
By
He works
you?
for us.
Who hired him?
I believe Dr. Smith did.
Who's Dr. Smith?
Dr. Walter Smith.
Who's he?
He's the executive medical director for Correct Health.
Did you hire Dr. Smith?
Yes,
Does he report to you?
he does.
Where'd he go to medical school?
I think he went to Morehouse.
Why'd you hire Dr. Smith? Is he according to your motto, is he the best qualified local professional?
I hired Dr. Smith because I'm aware of his clinical abilities. I've worked with him for the majority of his career, and he is very qualified correctional physician. He's an excellent correctional physician.
And what do you base that on?
My knowing his clinical abilities and my experience working with him.
He's not doing much clinical work now, is he?
He is.
Do you know Dr. Nowlin's clinical ability?
Yes.
What's that?
He's an excellent clinician.
Do you know what his background was?
I believe he went to Morehouse Medical School as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Do you know what
I may be
his
wrong.
jobs were prior to getting on board at
I believe
Correct
he
Health?
was in private practice.
Do you know what he did in private practice?
I don't know specifically what he did in private practice.
Do you know whether his private practice entailed pediatric versus adult?
I'm not sure exactly what he did in private practice. I assume it was in his specialty.
Would it make a difference to you?
I know his background. I know he's boarded, and that's the prevailing thing.
So as long as you're boarded, you can get a job at Correct Health.
No, that's not true.
But your website says that you hire the best professionals.
That's right.
Well, now what's the criteria then? What do you mean by the word best?
Well, the way we hire is, if you want to get into our hiring process, you know, we recruit, we network and recruit other people in our field. We credential, we vet, and we hire, and we train.
And Dr. Smith and Dr. Nowlin went to med school together, and they were boyhood friends, correct?
I believe that they've worked intimately together in various stages of their training.
So that's what you call networking, right?
That would qualify, yeah.
Not necessarily hiring the best, but somebody that Dr. Smith knew from medical school.
I think that that's the perfect way to know somebody's clinical abilities,
Okay. By going to medical school with them?
by training and working with them.
Now, Dr. Gaskin also is a friend of Dr. Smith. You aware of that?
Dr. Gaskin is another Correct Health provider.
Who happened to go to the same medical school as Dr. Smith?
Is that a question?
Yeah. I haven't gotten an answer yet.
I'm not sure there was a question mark at the end of that statement, but
Well,
I don't know, you want to repeat it or?
yeah, can you read it back?
Dr. Gassman also went to medical school with Dr. Smith.
I guess, can you confirm that's true or false?
I'm not sure, but I believe he did.
What exactly are your duties in Correct Health right now?
I'm the president of the Correct Health.
And what does that mean? And what's your role there?
I have overall operational responsibility, if you will, for Correct Health and its running.
What does that entail?
That means I'm involved in all aspects of Correct Health from us in a corporate sense.
Could you be more specific as to what you do?
I interact with our finance department and make sure that that we are paying our employees and paying our vendors and invoicing our people correctly. I interact with our HR department, make sure that our HR department is acting correctly. I interact with Dr. Smith, make sure our clinical services are being conducted appropriately, and other aspects of day-to-day.
What does that mean, other aspects of day-to-day?
Well, I'll make sure that the lights in the building are on, and I think you need a more specific question. Do I have a job description? I don't have a job description.
How many states is Correct Health in?
4.
So they in Tennessee,
Yes.
Georgia,
Yes.
Louisiana,
Yes.
Florida?
No.
What's the 4th state?
Kentucky.
Okay. How many employees does Correct Health have?
Several hundred.
Now, you say you interact with Dr. Smith. How frequently do you interact with Dr. Smith?
Almost every day.
And what do you all interact about?
Just like most things that when you're working together, issues that come up.
For instance?
Someone who is wanting, for example, this morning we talked about holiday schedules because we have the holidays coming up, and that was the issue of, you know, some of the issues regarding holidays.
Y'all ever talk about medical cases?
We do.
Did you ever talk about the case of Albert Wilder?
I'm not sure if we talked to him specifically about that case.
Do you know what Dr. Smith's role was in the case of Albert Wilder?
I'm not aware of his specific role.
Dr. Smith testified that the way y'all would do quality assurance and review files was he would randomly get some files and charts to review. Is that the way it works?
That's part of our process.
But he didn't know who sent him the files. Do you know who sends him the files to review?
It could be, if it's a facility, it's usually the facility manager, I would think.
So in the case of Rockdale County, do you know who would send him any of their charts to review?
I don't know. You'd have to ask Dr. Smith that.
Well, we did. So Dr. Smith should know the answer to who sends him the files.
For that specific question, yes.
It would be unusual for him not to know where the files came from, wouldn't it?
Again, that's a question you'd have to ask Dr. Smith.
Do you know if y'all do reviews of all death cases in your facilities?
Yes.
So there should have been a review of the Albert Wilder case to try to make improvements, correct?
Yes.
Do you know when such a review was undertaken?
No.
Do you know if there was any written report concerning such an investigation?
I'm not aware.
If there is an investigation of a death in a facility, do you typically become aware of that kind of an investigation?
Oftentimes I do.
But you have no awareness of any investigation that was done by Correct Health in connection with the death of Albert Wilder?
Again,
I'm going to instruct you not to get into anything that might be attorney-client privileged.
I'm not asking him about attorney-client privilege.
Well, some part of his response could very well be attorney-client, could delve into attorney-client privilege information. I mean, certainly I'm his attorney. He has a corporate attorney, or he has his, Stacy Blackman, his on-staff attorney. And obviously I've investigated, but any of my investigation would be covered by an attorney-client privilege. So though you may not have asked me about me by name, that certainly could be incorporated generally into your answer, into your question.
Can you read back the question, please?
Do you have any awareness of investigation that was done by Correct Health in connection with the death of Albert Wilder?
I think we had a mortality review.
Do you know when the mortality review occurred?
No.
Was there anything in writing as a result of that mortality review?
I don't know the answer to that.
What is a mortality review?
It's a review of the records associated with a person who dies.
And who reviews the records in a mortality review?
Our general counsel and others.
Does any medical provider review the records in connection with a mortality review, or you just give it to a lawyer to review?
There's medical review as well.
Now, who does the medical review? Is it Dr. Smith or somebody else?
Answer that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Answer the who.
Yeah, it'd be Dr. Smith and others.
Who's the others?
It could be another doctor or other involved participants in the care of an individual.
What other doctor?
It could be a psychiatrist, for example. It could be a psychologist, for example. It could be, it depends on the case.
What are the names of those people? They have names?
It could be a Dr. Kissinger. You want to just speculate on the names?
Well, who's Dr. Kissinger?
It's, you know, I want to just speculate the names.
I mean, if you know Kissinger's first name, you can tell him that, but...
Is he a psychiatrist?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to testify here for him, but it sounds like maybe you need to qualify your question because this is a psychiatric case, obviously.
Yeah, as it relates
My
to...
question's fine. Can you repeat my question, please?
Is there anything in writing as a result? No, that's not the last one. Now, who is Dr. Kissinger?
Dr. Kissinger's a psychiatrist.
A psychiatrist wouldn't have reviewed the death of Albert Wilder, would he?
I'm not aware.
So, other than Dr. Smith, who would have done a mortality review on the death of Albert Wilder?
The individuals that participated in the care of the patient.
So, the two LPNs and Dr. Nowlin?
Again, I don't recall specifically who participated in that review,
Well,
but it could have been.
I'm going to represent to you that the people from Correct Health that were involved in this case were Nurse Pierre, Nurse Green, and Dr. Nowlin. And is it your testimony that if they did a mortality review of this case, that those were the people that would have reviewed it?
Possibly.
Would they have issued a report?
I'm not sure of that.
So do you know for sure whether or not a mortality review was undertaken in this case?
I believe one was done.
Would Dr. Smith have done it?
He may have participated in it.
Now, but Dr. Smith says he gets charts randomly. Do you know how often he gets these charts?
I believe monthly. I don't know. You'd have to ask him that. I don't know.
So you don't really know what he does in terms of these mortality reviews?
I can tell you mortality reviews are done.
Was there a mortality review done in the death of Thomas Collardo?
That's not within the scope of your notice.
Instructed not to answer?
Yeah, we're here to answer questions pursuant to this notice, pursuant to
Whereas-
a list of questions.
Where's the notice? Can I get the notice back? He's here to answer questions about oversight of doctors and nurses.
Right?
And that's what I'm asking about, oversight of doctors and nurses.
And you're suggesting that a mortality review conducted on a deceased patient is oversight of a doctor and nurse?
Absolutely. It's peer review or quality assurance.
Well, that's a whole separate privilege.
It's not a privilege in a correctional case.
It is a privilege.
Not in a correctional case.
Well, we can just disagree on that. But on top of that, we've got Stacy Blackman, their general counsel, who's involved in this. We have a whole separate attorney-client privilege.
I'm not asking him about Stacy Blackwood's involvement. I'm asking him about the involvement of Dr. Smith and any other doctor that reviewed these cases.
Well, you can try to conveniently limit what you ask to exclude Stacy Blackman, but if she's involved, then there's an attorney-client privilege that attaches. There's also an anticipation of litigation a privilege that attaches. I mean, whether you ask about her by name or not.
You never received the mortality review in this case, correct?
I'm aware that a mortality review was done.
But you don't know where that document would be. Was there, well, let me back up. Was there a document generated as a result of that mortality review?
I'm not sure.
You never received any such document.
I have not seen a document.
And you hadn't, have you talked to Dr. Nowlin about this case?
I'm sure I did.
What'd you and he discuss about this case?
Yeah, I don't recall, other than the fact that I'm sure we talked about it when it happened.
Why are you sure you talked about it?
Because, you know, I'm pretty certain I recall that we talked about this case when it happened.
What'd you talk about this case?
I'm sure that we talked about the events around it.
Tell me what events you discussed.
All right, hang on. Before you get into that, I think you need to clarify whether Stacy Blackman's involved in these conversations or not, because if she is, then I'm going to instruct you not to answer those questions.
She was.
So when you talked to Dr. Nowlin, Stacy Blackman was there?
Yes.
When did this conversation take place?
I don't recall the exact time.
Have you talked to Nurse Green about this case?
I don't believe I have.
Have you talked to Nurse Pierre about this case?
I don't recall.
What do you understand the facts of this case to be?
Yeah, is that part of this?
I mean, you can give him your thumbnail overview if you want.
I know it's a case of an individual who died at Rockdale County.
That's all you know?
And I know that he died after a short stay there. And I mean, I don't want to, you know.
That's it?
I don't want to get involved with it without a medical record in front of me.
All right.
Before we head down this path, I guess I'm going to need you to show me where this falls on the notice.
Well, we kind of got off track because I'm asking him about oversight of doctors and nurses and conversations he's had with these people concerning the oversight of these doctors and nurses. So he now says he don't want to talk to me unless I provide him with a record, and I'm looking for a record.
Well, I think your last question was something to the effect of, you know, kind of what's this Wilder medical care about? And that's when he asked you for the medical chart. But again, I think we're straying from the deposition notice at this point. If we're going to get into the details of the medical care of Albert Wilder, I don't think that shows up anywhere on your notice.
What oversight was done of any of the medical personnel in this case? I'm talking about Nurse Green, Nurse Pierre, and Dr. Nowlin.
I believe a mortality review was done.
Other than that, were there any consequences of their actions, like termination or anything?
I'm not, again, I'm not aware of those specifics.
What oversight is done other than mortality reviews at Correct Health?
Check to the vagueness of that question.
You instructing him not to answer it?
No,
Well,
I'd be
yeah.
surprised if he can answer that question.
Repeat the question.
Could you read it back, please? You got that notice?
What oversight is done other than mortality reviews at Correct Health?
Well, peer review is done.
Is peer review
Quality
done?
assurance is done. Mortality review is done. Those are some examples.
Is quality assurance done in this case?
Mortality review is done.
But you listed 3 things: quality assurance, peer review, and mortality review.
Yes.
So, was there peer review done?
Peer review is done.
Tell me about that.
No, don't tell him about that. I'm instructing him not to answer that question.
So you're not going to answer my question about what peer review was done?
I'm instructing him not to answer that question. If you need him to confirm that he's not going to answer it, then you can agree. Tell him that.
Yes.
Do you know how many hours Dr. Nowlin was working at the Rockdale County Jail?
Do you mean in September 2012?
September 2012.
I don't know the exact number.
Do you know anybody who's familiar with the number of hours Dr. Nowlin was working in the Rockdale Jail in September of 2012?
I believe it's in the contract.
Are you familiar with the contract?
I'm familiar with contracts.
I was told that you're the person familiar with the number of hours Dr. Nowlin worked in the Rockdale County Jail, and you're telling me you don't know the answer to that.
Wait a minute. I don't know that you were told that.
Well, he was brought here as the 30B6 witness, as the person familiar with the number of hours Dr. Nowlin and other doctors had to be at the Rockdale County Jail in a week.
That's a different question than you just asked.
All right, well, tell me how many hours that Dr. Nowlin had to be in the Rockdale County Jail in a week.
I believe it's in the contract.
So you don't know the answer to that question as we sit here today.
Again, it's in the contract. It could be, and I'd have to confirm it in the contract.
Did you bring the contract with you?
We've previously provided you with a contract. And,
That wasn't my question.
I mean, I have it available for him to look at.
Well, this isn't a quiz, but he was represented as a person familiar with the number of hours.
And he's answered your question. It's in the contract.
All right.
If you want a specific number, I'm happy to show him the contract.
All right, show him the contract.
$4 hours a week.
And how many hours was an RN supposed to work there under the contract?
Your mic's on the floor.
1.
And how many hours?
Wait, that's an FTE. I'm sorry.
It is an FTE. 1 FTE.
Excuse me?
1 full-time equivalent, or 40 hours a week.
Of an RN?
Yes.
How come here it says none? Did he? So you said Dr. Nolan had to work 4 hours a week?
That's what it says here in the
What
contract.
days was he supposed to work?
I'm not sure the exact schedule.
I'm looking at a memo that's been previously marked Wilder 001983 that the Rockdale County Sheriff's Office provided us, and it indicates that the RN was not supposed to be working any hours at all. Is that incorrect?
I'm going to object to this document as not being relevant to the time period that we're talking about here. This is clearly a different contractor's requirements, because this is the Correct Care Solution. This is not Correct Care Solutions.
Yeah, it's correct.
It's dated March of 2013.
Right, and they were comparing the 2012 contract to when they wanted to get rid of these folks. And the comparison was current, which is what Correct Health had, as opposed to what Correct Care was proposing. So it says 0 for RN.
I don't know. He came here to talk about the contract, and now you're showing him a document not prepared by Correct Health.
Well, so that was, so you're saying that the RN was supposed to be there 40 hours a week,
Yes.
but not on the weekends, correct?
Typically, our RNs don't work weekends
Why is that?
because they're contracted to work 40 hours a week.
So you have LPNs at your facility who are unsupervised.
That's not true.
There's no doctor on site on the weekends, correct?
Yes.
Yes, meaning there's not a doctor on the site during the
Yes.
week. And there's no RN on site during the weekends, correct?
Yes.
And there's no PAs or nurse practitioners on site during the weekends.
Yes.
So what you have is you have an unsupervised LPN at this facility.
Object to the full.
That's not correct.
So you consider supervision by telephone to be supervision.
Supervision can occur in many different ways,
And
and telephone is one of them.
what other way can supervision occur?
An RN can come to the facility, or a doctor can come to the facility to supervise.
But in this case, there was no RN or
Yes.
doctor in the facility on the weekends.
There's chart reviews can supervise.
Chart reviews, what does that
Yeah.
mean?
You can read the work of another person you're supervising.
I mean, you email it to them?
You can review their chart. You can review their work product.
But if all you have is LPN there, you're telling me the only way the LPN is being supervised is by telephone.
I'm saying that's not the only way they're being supervised.
You told me that on the weekends, the doctor wasn't there, correct?
Yes.
And on the weekends, the RN's not there.
Yes.
And there's no PA there or nurse practitioner. They're not ever there, right? Under this contract.
Not on the weekends.
Okay. So then the only supervision then, sir, is by telephone, correct?
That's not correct.
Well, how, explain that to me.
They are available and they're accessible on the weekends by telephone.
So the only supervision is by telephone.
That's not correct.
You just told me that the only supervision was that they were available and accessible by telephone. Isn't that what you said?
I said they are available by telephone.
And that's the extent of the supervision.
No.
Well, explain to me how I'm wrong.
Supervision takes on a myriad of different forms.
For instance,
Well, training and orientation is a form of supervision. Reviewing your work product is a form of supervision. Looking after your work is a form of supervision.
who's
Making sure you're showing up to work on time is a form of supervision.
who's training the LPN on the weekend?
There is no probably not a lot of training that happens on the weekends. There may be, but
Well-
oftentimes our training occurs during the week.
You say there may be training on the weekend. What kind of training?
Staff meetings, discussion of various topics that comes up, results of quality assurance
So on the
may be
weekends,
discussed.
I'm sorry. On the weekends, so the LPNs talk amongst themselves and have one of these staff meetings?
They talk amongst themselves, maybe a change of shift.
But the truth of the matter, sir, is that there's no on-site supervision of an LPN at the Rockdale County Jail Facility in September 23rd and 24th of 2012.
There's no other on-site individuals. That's not to say there's no supervision.
So the only supervision on that day, or those 2 days, was by telephone.
That's not correct.
Why is it not correct?
I've already answered that.
Who was there to supervise?
I've already answered the question.
Who was there? Give me the name of a doctor or an RN who was there on September 23rd or September 24th to supervise Nurse Green and Nurse Pierre.
Do I want to get into that?
I think there's sort of just a communication issue going on right now.
Yeah, I don't speak English very well, I'm sorry.
Well, you know, he's told you about overall supervision from beginning with hiring and training and so forth, and you keep kind of going in and out of there on site versus just supervision. I think there is a distinction. I understand what he's talking about, but...
Are you smarter than I am? But that wasn't my question. Can you repeat my question?
Who was, give me the name of a doctor or RN that was on September 23rd and 24th to supervise Nurse Green and Nurse Pierre? Objective.
I mean, you can...
I'm not aware that there was anybody there other than our nurses that night.
So there was no doctor on site to supervise those two nurses.
There's no doctor scheduled on the weekends, no.
And there's never any doctor scheduled on the weekends to provide on-site supervision of the nurses.
There's no doctor scheduled for the weekend
And-
unless they're called to come in
And
or
there's
if they
no-
feel like there's a need to come in.
And there's no RN scheduled for the weekend.
No.
And there's no PA or nurse practitioner scheduled for the weekend.
No.
So the LPNs are there to fend for themselves.
Object to the form.
There's LPNs on the weekend.
And LPNs under Georgia law aren't allowed to make diagnoses, correct?
The LPNs function as nurses.
Not able to make diagnoses. Is that correct?
They do nurse assessments.
Nurse Green said she received no training from Correct Health. Is that correct?
I'm not aware what Nurse Green says.
Do you know of any training that Nurse Green received from Correct Health prior to coming on board at Rockdale County Jail?
I don't know specifically.
Well, what do you mean you don't know specifically? Is there anything other than specifically?
I think what you've asked him is what specific training did Nurse Green herself receive from Correct Health?
I think that's what I asked him.
And as I interpret his answer, he cannot speak to what specific training Nurse Green herself would have had from Correct Health.
What training would a nurse coming on board at Correct Health expect to receive?
In general, nurses that come on board with Correct Health receive various credentialings to make sure that they're able to do the job that we're hiring for, such as, for example, verification of licensure.
Now, hold on. verification of licensure, how's that training?
So that was credentialing.
My question was, well, you were represented as the person at Correct Health most familiar with training of medical personnel that worked at Rockdale County Jail in September of 2012 and knowledge of training manuals. My question to you, do you know of any specific training that Nurse Green received prior to coming on board to work at the Rockdale County Jail in 2012?
Let me just object to that question, because now you just asked prior to coming on board at Rockdale. She's not, Correct Health isn't responsible for training them before they start there.
All right, there's no, so there is, when she gets to working at Correct Health, there's no period of time where she undergoes training, or she just starts right off working?
Nurses in general go through a credentialing process, like I was mentioning, to verify that they are who they are licensed, and they're able to perform the work properly, and such as, and provide security clearances and background checks and so forth. In addition to that, there's a general orientation that staff go through. Talk about things that are general to the company. For example, how are you going to get a paycheck? Signing certain paperworks, such as tax papers and other necessary paperwork that is needed for employment, and that is performed in conjunction with a general orientation to Correct Health. Who are we, and what do we do in corrections? And in that general orientation, healthcare somewhat specific to corrections is presented to staff. Then after that, there is site-specific training that gets done, and orientation that gets done over a period of time at our sites by managers and others.
So there's no nursing training that Correct Health provides to nurses such as Nurse Green and Nurse Pierre?
Well, there's plenty of nurse training that Correct Health provides. The original question was when they were coming on board. Now, if the training is more extensive, our training gets tailored over time, specific to the needs of a facility.
What training did Nurse Green receive from Correct Health during her tenure there?
Well, I don't have specific knowledge about Nurse Green.
Do you have specific knowledge about Nurse Pierre?
I don't have specific knowledge about the training that was provided to them.
Do you have any specific knowledge of training of medical personnel that worked at the Rockdale County Jail in September of 2012?
He's just answered that question. He told you the whole process.
He just told me that he has no specific knowledge of any training that these two nurses were given.
I don't know how that differs from what everybody gets versus what these two specific nurses would get.
Did they receive any training regarding the treatment of somebody who has an abdominal pain?
Again, I don't know the specific training that they received.
Do you know if there was any training manuals?
There's employee manuals. There are specific procedural manuals, policies and procedures, for example. There are staff meetings that are conducted. There are quality assurance in our training. A lot of our training is guided from the results of our quality assurance and performance improvement measures.
What kind of, were there any, other than that mortality report that you don't know where it is, were there any quality assurance measures done after the death of Albert Wilder?
We have quality assurance measures that go on constantly.
Well, what quality assurance measures were done after the death of Albert Wilder?
Again, we have a quality assurance program that will assess various components of our services. We do audits. We examine our care. We know peer review is done.
What assessments were made after the death of Albert Wilder?
We have ongoing quality assurance measures.
The question was, sir, what assessments were made by your company to improve the quality of care rendered by your company after the death of Albert Wilder?
I'm going to instruct you not to answer that question.
Okay.
On the basis of the peer review privilege, quality assurance privilege, attorney work product privilege, and anticipation of litigation privilege.
So you're saying that any assessments made concerning Albert Wilder was done for the purposes of litigation?
In as much as it included the general counsel for the company, in as much as it also clearly included the idea that when you have an inmate death, there is the likelihood of litigation to follow, which in this case was borne out to be 100% true.
So the only quality assurance you do in the event of the death of an inmate is connected with your staff counsel. She's involved in all this?
I guess the same answer would apply.
So the truth of the matter is you're more concerned about litigation than the quality of care you provide?
Don't answer that.
Instructed him not to answer that.
I thought that was pretty clear. I'm speaking English over here on this side of the table too.
So you know of no quality assurance that was done in the connection of the death of Albert Wilder?
I thought I already answered that.
You know of possibly a mortality review was done, but you don't know where it is or who did it.
Again, I've already answered that.
Where is it, sir? The mortality review.
Again, I've already answered that.
You don't know, do you?
I think he's already answered all of these questions.
Dr. Smith testified that he didn't do one. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, I have to ask Dr. Smith that.
He would be the person responsible for doing a mortality review in a case like this, wouldn't he? Is that a yes?
Mortality reviews are done on patients who die.
Would Dr. Smith have any involvement in such a mortality review?
Again, mortality reviews are done in this case.
And so the director of medicine at your company would have intimate knowledge of such a review, correct, sir?
He could. He might.
He should, shouldn't he? Is that a yes?
He is. Again, my answer is a mortality review is done in this case.
He's the person responsible that quality care is provided at your facilities, isn't he?
He is. His position is executive medical director for the company.
So it's his job to see that there's good medical care being provided in your jails, correct?
Amongst others, yeah.
And so he would know about such a mortality review.
He knows about mortality reviews.
He would know about the mortality review that was done in this case. We good?
Yeah.
He would know about the mortality review that was done in this case.
You'd have to ask him that question.
Well, what would be the chain of command? How would it go? Who would do the mortality review? Isn't it assigned to somebody?
I think I already answered that question.
Well, could you answer it again?
It's led by our general counsel, that effort.
So anytime there's a death at your facility, the general counsel becomes intimately involved. Is that right?
That's her responsibility to conduct the mortality review.
Because when somebody dies in your facility, you're concerned about being sued?
Don't answer that.
Well, why is it that is the goal of a mortality review to improve the quality of care at your facility?
I would say that's one of the goals.
So if that was the goal, what were the other goals?
To review the overall care of the individual.
To make sure that it doesn't happen again.
Again, as part of a peer review process.
And so you'd want doctors to review those matters, correct?
And oftentimes they are.
So why do you have a lawyer reviewing it and being the lawyer in charge?
Don't answer that. His company's entitled to have lawyers involved in whatever they want lawyers involved in, without revealing attorney-client privilege by explaining any reasons why.
Who does the schedules for the Rockdale? Who did the scheduling for the Rockdale County Jail, January 2012? I mean, in September of 2012.
I believe the schedule is a fairly fixed schedule.
Who does it though? Who determines the staffing patterns?
Who determines the staffing patterns? The county does.
The staffing patterns for Correct Health?
The staffing patterns of the contract.
So the contract says that the doctor's got to be there 4 days a week. It's the county that determines
4 hours a week.
4 hours a week, I'm sorry. It's the county that determines what 4 hours he shows up.
No.
Correct Health determines that.
Well, in concert with the county.
Who at Correct Health was making those determinations in September of 2012?
Once we started working under this contract, or whatever the contract we were working under, there was a fixed schedule that was agreed upon by all the appropriate staff at the county level and our staff.
Were you
there?
Did you participate in that?
I don't know that I participated in that.
Who determined that the doctor was only going to be there 4 hours a week?
Again, that's the county. That was the county's really directing that. That's the level that they wanted, the level of services that they wanted.
Were there any monetary penalties in that contract for non-performance of your duties?
I'm not sure if there are or not.
Who was there to determine whether or not the doctor actually showed up 4 hours?
Our doctors show up on their fixed schedule, unless there's some extraneous circumstance.
But that's not my question. My question is, who's in charge of making sure that the doctor shows up in accordance with that fixed schedule?
Well, I'm not sure who's responsible for making sure he shows up. I do know this: when, for whatever reason, he's not there or he's just a little bit late, oftentimes, Dr. Smith or others would get a phone call.
So is Dr. Smith responsible for scheduling Dr. Nowlin?
Again, that schedule was agreed upon years ago, and it's a fixed schedule. It's not like it's subject to variation.
Thank you for your answer, sir, but that's not my question. My question to you is, who at Correct Health makes sure that Dr. Nowlin is there 4 hours a week?
Dr. Nowlin reports to Dr. Smith. If for whatever reason he can't make it there, then, for that scheduled shift that day, then Dr. Smith would get a phone call, and we have other people who could substitute for him, or Dr. Smith could theoretically substitute for him.
Who makes sure that the LPN's there the requisite number of hours?
That responsibility would probably fall under the administrator of the facility, the health services administrator.
At Correct Health?
At the Rockdale Jail.
So it would be up to the Rockdale Jail to make sure that Correct Health's LPN was there the requisite number of hours?
That's one of the primary responsibilities of the health services administrator. is to make sure that they have all the staff positions filled as much as possible.
Who was the health service administrator at Rockdale in September of 2012?
I believe that was Mr. Robinson.
It's Robert Robinson you're deposing tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Is he supervisor of the nursing staff?
There, yes.
Okay. Was it his job to assure that the nurses provided quality care?
Amongst others, yes.
And it was Dr. Smith's job to make sure that Dr. Nowlin was providing quality care?
Amongst others, yeah.
You say amongst others, well, what other role did Mr. Robertson have? Or what other duties?
Oh, no, there are most administrative duties, for example, staffing and supervision clinically, payroll, other operational things, conducting meetings, training, many roles as an administrator.
Are you aware of complaints made by inmates or family members, friends of inmates, staff of Rockdale County, or anybody else concerning the health care provided Rockdale County Jail in 2012?
Am I aware of specific complaints?
Yes, sir.
I don't know. Would this lawsuit be a specific complaint?
I'm not here to answer your questions. So this
This would be
lawsuit is
one
a
example,
complaint.
yeah.
Do you know of any others?
I don't have intimate knowledge of others, specific knowledge of others.
Do you know who at your company would be most familiar to answer that question?
It would probably be either Dr. Nowlin or the facility administrator.
So it wouldn't be you,
If you want specific knowledge, it would be them.
and you were the one listed to provide me with that specific knowledge, but you're not prepared to do that today.
The word specific was not in your notice.
It said complaints.
Yeah, and you can talk about complaints generally, but a specific complaint, we're here to talk about Mr. Wilder's care. And I understand there are these lists or this stack of medical grievance forms or what have you, but those are two different topics.
So the only complaint you know of in 2012 regarding the care given by Correct Health at Rockdale County Jail was complaint resulting from the death of Albert Wilder.
That is a specific complaint that I'm aware of.
Do you know of any other complaints?
Again, I can't comment specifically on individual, complaints or grievances or anything like that.
That's not my question, sir. Do you know of any other complaints?
Well, I suspect there were probably other grievances.
Suspect isn't the answer to my question, sir. Do you know of any other complaints?
Okay, I would say that there are likely other grievances.
Likely other grievances, like, give me some examples.
Well, for example, there may be a complaint that and I'm giving you an example, that someone is allergic to a food and they got a food and they complain to medical.
What's the name?
Another example would be, I'm sorry, go ahead.
What's the name of the person that
That
complained?
I can't give you that specific.
And nor would I allow him to give that. I mean, we've got HIPAA issues here. We're talking about medical complaints. By their very nature, we're dealing with individuals with HIPAA privacy rights.
Okay. What did you do about the person that complained about being allergic to whatever you said?
Well,
How
that was a hypothetical, but
Oh, so you just give me hypotheticals, not stuff that actually happened in Realville, correct?
I'm here to talk about complaints in general, but I'm not here to talk about specific complaints of other individuals.
So you're not here to talk about any complaints made by inmates, family members, and friends of inmates, staff of Rockdale Jail, Correct Health, Rockdale, etc., that was called for in the notice other than hypothetical complaints?
He's here to describe the process of complaints, how they get handled generally, how how complaints come in, how they're dealt with, how they are resolved, and so forth. Doesn't say specific. You didn't ask for specific inmates. On top of that, it's a HIPAA violation to discuss specific inmates. On top of that, hold on, I'm not done. On top of that, they don't have...
You're here to object to the form of the question, the responsive and the answer, not to make speeches.
Well, whatever. On top of that, you don't have a really good foundation. I think if you were to understand the process and the whereabouts of these grievances today, you would probably be satisfied with the information he's here to give you. And I can give you more of a speech about it if you want to know specifically what I'm talking about or not.
Could you repeat my question, please?
So you're not here to talk about... Let me listen to that one, it was long.
It was called for in the notice, other inmates family.
I'm here to talk about complaints in general, but I'm not here to talk about specific complaints of other individuals.
So you're not here to talk about any complaints made by inmates, family members, and friends of inmates. Therefore, Rockdale Jail, Correct Health Rockdale, etc. It was called for in the notice, other than hypothetical complaints.
Did you hear that?
I could.
You could?
I could hear it. I don't know. Can't speak to anybody else's hearing. I mean, you've seen the list of complaints. I think it's unfair to ask him about a specific complaint that may have happened over some multi-year period of time.
So I'm asking what complaints is he aware of as we sit here today, other than the case of Albert Wilder in the year 2012 at the Rockdale County Jail?
Are we also excluding the Carlo lawsuit?
Does he know about the Colorado lawsuit?
He's aware that well, he can speak for himself, but he's aware that there is a Carlo lawsuit.
Okay. Any other problems that you knew of at Rockdale County Jail in 2012, other than the Colorado case and the Wilder case?
You know, other than the fact that we have ongoing quality assurance, performance improvement, and, you know, mortality reviews. But again, you know, those issues are, as we discussed earlier.
What improvement was made to Correct Health after the death of Albert Wilder?
Can I answer that?
We're gonna see Judge Story.
I think you can answer. This is purely a timing question, I suppose. What improvements were made after Mr. Wilder died on September 24th, 2012?
Yeah.
I think you can, to the extent that there were improvements, I think you can answer that question. It's just a pure timing question.
You know, we have ongoing performance improvement measures. You know, many of those issues are discussed at our staff meetings, and the results of those performance improvement measures are discussed at our staff meetings. The exact ones, I'm not prepared to tell you, but I believe that, and almost on a monthly basis, we're always having issues that we improve upon.
What improvements were made at Correct Health as a result of the death of Albert Wilder?
Before he answers that again, why don't you point to your notice and tell me what topic that's relevant to?
It's a follow-up question on what he's oversight of nurses and doctors.
Oversight of nurses and doctors and quality improvement after Mr. Wilder's death. I don't see how that's relevant, nor is that covered into this notice.
Oversight of nurses and doctors is has to do with quality assurance.
Well, I mean, we've got quality assurance objections and privileges, peer review privileges and objections.
I asked him, he said they made improvements all the time. I asked him what improvements were made as a result of whatever they did after the death of Albert Wilder.
No, you didn't ask the result of Albert Wilder's death. I think you asked after Albert Wilder's death. But result of his death is privileged. Following his death would not be privileged. And I think he's answered that question, that he didn't have a specific thing he can point to, but things were improving all the time, so to speak.
Well, what things were improving all the time?
Systems, operations, you know,
What systems and operations?
ongoing personnel matters. Things for example, utilization management and case management for when maybe a patient goes off-site at a hospital. That would be one example.
What does that mean?
It means just that, utilization management and case management of individuals that are off-site. That would be one example of performance improvements measures that's been ongoing.
How's that improving anything?
It improves our ability to case manage and provide utilization management services for our patients when they go off-site.
Did you know that, do you know who Nurse Green is?
I'm aware of Nurse Green.
Do you know that she didn't know who Albert Wilder was while he was under her care?
You'd have to ask Nurse Green that.
Did you review anything before coming here today?
Yes.
What did you review?
Various documents.
What documents did you review?
Contract, financial documents, others.
Did you review any depositions?
Did not.
At your facilities, do you think that medical records are important?
Yes.
Why is that?
They provide an ongoing communication as to the care being provided to an individual.
And if something's not charted, it's not done?
Well, the answer to that is yes and no.
And what does that mean?
That means the important things that we do on a day-to-day basis involving the care of a patient should be documented. But the truth is, we would do many, many, many things all day long that we may not document.
You would expect the LPN who's at your facility to know where the patient's chart is, wouldn't you?
I would hope so, yes.
Why would you expect that?
Because they need to have a general understanding of medical records.
And if the nurse at the facility didn't know where the medical chart was, is that something that's tolerated at your facility?
It happens frequently, unfortunately, in that with ongoing activity of patient care, charts get taken out of where they are stored and get implemented in other systems, and it's not uncommon that we have to hunt our charts down.
Do you know what Nurse Green's duties were that evening of Albert Wilder's death, or early morning?
Is that in your notice? Don't tell me that's oversight.
Well,
Hey Ted, is that mine?
I think we've shared that one. So how about I get you a new one? If you go next.
I was wondering, I had a bottle of water.
Yeah, I started drinking out of it and
Oh, okay.
realized it. So
Thanks.
It's got to do with scheduling for the personnel.
Scheduling for the personnel.
Yeah.
Can you repeat that question?
I wanted to ask him if he knew what Nurse Green's duties were the morning that Albert Wilder died.
I think scheduling of the personnel would be what time she show up and what time she leave.
And it's got to do with understaffing.
Well,
Which we
show
have
me
to do with
understaffing on your notice.
Well, unfortunately, I didn't draw this notice up.
Well, I definitely didn't draw this notice up. So y'all are here to ask questions subject to the notice that was drawn up by the
Well, but
plaintiff's
it's
side.
still why I'm saying that's relevant to the notice that was drawn up. It's got to do with the scheduling, the fact that the scheduling was poor.
I don't know that there's been a poor scheduling allegation. I'll tell you what though, instead of arguing about this, I don't believe that it's covered under that, but if he can answer that question, he's welcome to do that.
You're so sweet. All right.
I don't know specifically her schedule that morning.
Do you know what pill call is?
Yes.
That takes time, correct?
Yes.
And if there's an LPN there, the deputy's got to go with the LPN, correct?
I don't know the exact, procedure there. Pill calls conducted differently at different sites, but that very well may be the case there.
And you need, not only do you spend time during pill call, you need to pull the pills too, right?
Again, that's facility specific, but that can take some time in some facilities, yes.
And that takes additional time where you couldn't actually have hands-on care with an inmate in the holding cell. Is that fair?
Well, it takes additional time.
Okay. And then she was also doing narcotics count. Do you know what that is?
Yes.
Okay. And that takes time.
Of course.
Time where you're not attending to inmates in the facility.
It takes time.
And you know what sharp count is?
Yes.
What's that?
That's where you account for all the medical supplies and instruments that have a sharp edge.
And that takes time too.
Yes.
And you know what the refrigeration logs is?
Yes.
What's that?
It's a daily log documenting the temperature of the refrigerator
And why do they do that?
to make sure that there hasn't been a system failure, that the medicines that are stored in the refrigerator are good.
And that takes time too, right?
Yes.
And you know what diabetic calibrations are?
Yes.
What's that?
That's where you calibrate the machine that reads blood sugars.
That takes time too, right?
Yes.
And what about diabetic pill call? That's a different kind of pill call, right? Is that a yes?
Well, I wouldn't call it a pill call, but
What would you call
it depends on what you're asking me.
it? Let you assume that that was one of Nurse Green's duties that evening. That would take her time where she could not attend to Albert Wilder.
If you mean was she managing diabetics?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yes, that would take time.
And she would also have to pull the pills, which would take time.
Most of our diabetics on diabetic monitoring get a shot of insulin, not a pill.
Okay. But some get pills.
True, but most of those are given out at regular pill call. Some are given out in diabetic.
Okay.
Not all.
She would also have to take off orders, right?
Yes.
That would require.
Well, I assume so. I don't know what shift she's working or exactly if that's one of her roles or not, but she may or may not.
Well, she said she had to.
Okay. Well, if she says that, then I don't have a reason to disbelieve that.
And she would also had wound care. What is that?
That's, caring for patients that have special bandage and treatment required for certain wounds.
And that takes 15, 20, 30 minutes.
Takes time.
Okay. And if she had a transport to prison, You know what that entails?
Yes.
What is that?
You know, if there's a notice that a individual is leaving to go to another facility, being transferred, if you will.
And if that person has a breathing problem, then they got additional time. If they got to deal with a person's got asthma real bad or constructive COPD, and he had a breathing problem, they had to give him a breathing treatment. That would take time too, right?
It could, yeah.
30, 40 minutes.
Possibly.
And she was doing admissions or intake. That could take time too, right?
That could.
And she had to get paperwork ready for prisoners going to court on Monday since it was a Sunday. That would divert her from being able to attend to Albert Wilder.
It would take time.
So if somebody had to do all these additional duties, wouldn't it be fair to say that there would be the need for additional help at your facility?
I can say that our staff at our facilities that are 24 hours stay busy all night.
And if she was too busy to take care of Albert Wilder that evening, would you have a problem with that?
Object to the form, but go ahead.
Well, I would object to the care of any individual. I'm not saying that that's what your premise is correct.
She should be spending time taking care of people in the holding cell, correct?
That's part of her, that's part of our nurse's duty there is to provide care when it's requested.
And if she's aware that he's got a problem and doesn't even attend to him, do you have a problem with that?
Again, your premise is such that it's somewhat misleading, but I believe that she should provide care that's requested and ordered by the physician.
Do you know if she spoke with the physician that evening?
I'm not sure exactly who spoke with which physician there.
You're aware that, well, in your opinion, how much time in general must, if one of the inmates makes a complaint of, let's say, pain, before it's mandatory that the patient be evaluated by a physician?
Check to the hypothetical as incomplete and lacking fundamental medical information that would be necessary to answering that question.
Let's assume Mr. Wilder was complaining of pain in his abdomen for several hours and that he had vomited up what was described as looking like red ketchup. Is there a time period where his complaints, that it's mandatory at your facility that somebody with complaints and symptoms of that nature be seen by a doctor?
Same objection. If you can answer, go ahead.
Again, that's a question for the physician providing the care and providing the level of monitoring that you're asking about.
Well, if somebody's screaming in pain for several hours and it's noted by the deputies, and the man vomits up blood, you think the doctor should be notified?
Same objection. Go ahead.
Again, I can't tell you. I'm not here to answer a question that you want to ask Dr. Nowlin or others.
not asking.
And that's
I'm
a,
asking
you know,
you.
is that a hypothetical?
Are you the person responsible for what's going on at this facility, or you don't care?
I'm the president of the company.
So you care about whether or not the people are getting treated right?
Of course I do.
So my question to you, sir, is if a man is complaining of pain for several hours, clutching his abdomen in the fetal position, and then vomits up blood, should he be seen by a doctor or not?
Hang on, now you're delving into the area of really expert testimony. Is it appropriate? Is it inappropriate? Should that happen? Shouldn't it happen? And this is a 30B6 deposition of the topics listed here. This is not Carlo Muso as an expert witness for the defense deposition.
You telling him about the answer?
First, I guess, tell me why that's within the confines of your notice, because I don't think it is. I mean, you're asking expert witness questions, and that's just not anywhere on here.
My question initially, didn't get a straight answer on.
Well, I don't agree with that characterization.
Well, anybody who reads this deposition either come to the conclusion that my questions aren't very good, or I hadn't gotten a whole lot of straight answers. But my question initially was, how much time in your facility should go by before somebody complaining of pain gets to be seen and evaluated by a doctor? Or is there not such a rule at your facility?
Well, that first question was objectionable because it was overly broad and had so few number of facts in it that it couldn't be answered.
Then when I put facts in it, you objected because you said it was an expert question.
True.
So you instructed him not to answer those questions?
Not only is it an expert question, but it's a question outside the confines of your notice. I mean, he's not here to give an expert deposition. He's here to talk about
My
the things on the
questions were
list.
about complaints made by inmates, so that ought to be how do they get resolved at his facility. That's why that's relevant.
So now the complaints are okay. Earlier they were about something different.
Well, they are about both of them. You know, they can be. I guess we can reword all this and do it again.
Look, it's your notice. It's not my notice.
I understand that, but I'm asking him about complaints and how they get resolved.
Okay, I didn't hear complaints in there, but go ahead. Maybe if you rephrase your question, maybe we can answer it. Maybe he can answer it.
Complaints was in there, but all right. If a man complains of pain for a number of hours, from 9:40 in the morning to 7 o'clock in the evening, crouched in the fetal position, complaining of pain to his abdomen, and then he vomits up a red substance, how much time should he have been evaluated by a physician?
You want to answer in general?
Sure.
Okay. In general, when there are complaints by our inmate patients at our facilities, our staff, depending on the nature of the complaint, may or may not see that immediately, based on his or her triage and judgment. If indeed they decide to see the individual urgently or on that same day, as opposed to scheduling that patient for later, then they make a nursing assessment. Based on that nursing assessment, they may or may not treat the patient right there under nursing guidelines, that they are generally acceptable nursing guidelines, or they may provide contact the provider on call. And depending on the events or the circumstances around the patient assessment, complaint and assessment, they may or may not order various treatments.
So under the factual scenario that I presented to you, at the very least, a nurse should have made an assessment of that patient.
Is that a specific question you want to answer?
If you can answer it, go ahead.
Yeah, if a nurse saw a patient, she should make an assessment.
The nurse should have seen the patient in that factual hypothetical and have examined the patient.
Is it factual or hypothetical?
It's a hypothetical.
Again,
A nurse should, under my hypothetical, a nurse should have made a visual assessment of that patient.
again, you know, if an inmate has a complaint and a nurse is made aware of an inmate complaint, depending on the nature of the complaint and the specifics, she may or may not even see that patient. You know, she may elect to just schedule that individual for sick call, for example, at the next provider visit.
So the patient's,
For example, if he's complaining of a cold. Now, so you know, you asked me about the hypothetical, so I'm giving you a response.
I'm not talking about a cold, sir. I'm talking about a man who's complaining and screaming for over 10 hours of pain in his abdomen and vomits up blood. Should that patient been examined by a nurse?
Is that, you want me to get into that specifics?
I mean, we're still just sort of going back and forth between your last question contains should, and we're talking about expert testimony here. I mean, if you can answer the question, answer the question.
In general, if patients are complaining of abdominal pain, they should be triaged and assessed by staff appropriately.
And triaged and assessed means they should be seen.
Well, that's the way you triage and assess.
So what is triage? Can you give me a definition?
It's assigning medical priority.
Who's qualified to provide triage at your facility?
Clinical staff.
LPNs?
Yes.
Are they trained to triage inmates at your facility?
A triage is one of those fundamental healthcare skill sets that we learn early on in our training.
So your facility doesn't provide any triage training?
Triage is something that is innate to as taking a blood pressure. We're always instructing our staff what to do and how to do it. So would our staff have just the mere practice of going through the steps necessary to provide an intake assessment, for example, is an example of how to triage a patient.
Is there any rules at your facility as to how often blood pressure should be taken?
Or their rules? It is as frequent as what the provider thinks they should be taken.
If they're in a medical holding cell, should their vitals be taken every so often or never? Or
Depends on the situation.
like if somebody's complaining of abdominal pain and has vomited up blood?
As a rule, and your question was as a rule, we don't have specific rules. If someone has a complaint, then and is placed in a medical cell for whatever reason, then that level of monitoring is based on the judgment of the provider on call.
So if the person has been complaining of pain for over 10 hours and has vomited up blood, should vitals be taken?
Again, do you want me sticking in the hypothetical or specifics?
Same.
I think vital signs should be taken on patients who have significant complaints.
Are there any evaluation to see whether the nurses at your facilities are triaging the patients correctly?
Yes.
Were there any such evaluations made in this case?
Again, that's the same part of the QA, mortality review and, performance improvement processes of the company.
Are there any written rules regarding the evaluation of those assigned to do the triage?
If it's related to an intake screening process, there's a very structured assessment process that takes place.
We take a break whenever
Sure.
you get to a point.
We can take a break right now. What time is it?
We are off the record. The time now is 3:25.
Thank you.